President Donald Trump addresses U.S. interest in Greenland, warning that Russia or China could move in, as he outlines his position in the remarks ahead.
One group taking your threat seriously is one area taking your threat, the New York Post.
New York Post treats me semi-fairly. So go ahead.
One group taking your threats very seriously is Greenland. Are you still thinking of military action there, or is there anything they can...
Where? Military.
Greenland. Greenland. Is there anything they can offer you for a deal?
If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will. And I'm not letting that happen. If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will take Greenland. And I am not going to let that happen.
Is there any deal they can offer you? Either like...
Yeah, sure. I'd love to make a deal with them. It's easier. But one way or the other, we're going to have Greenland.
Are you okay?
Look, something happened last week that honestly should make everyone pause for a second. President Trump was on Air Force One, and he just flat out said the United States is going to take Greenland. Not maybe. Not if they agree. He said, one way or the other, we're going to have Greenland. And then he added this line that really caught people's attention. If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will take Greenland. I'm not letting that happen. Now here's where it gets weird. When reporters asked the White House press secretary if military force was on the table, she didn't say no. She basically said all options are being discussed. So let's just break down what's actually happening here. Because this isn't about whether Greenland is strategically important or not. That's a separate conversation. The real issue is how you actually acquire territory in America. And spoiler alert, the president doesn't just get to point at a map and say, that's ours now. The Constitution is pretty clear about this. Article 4, Section 3 gives Congress, not the president, the power to make decisions about American territory. There's a reason for that. Our founders didn't want one person making massive decisions about expansion, war, or taking over other people's land without everyone else having a say. Think about how Alaska became American. People forget this. Back in 1867, Secretary of State William Seward wanted to buy Alaska from Russia. But he couldn't just do it. He had to negotiate a treaty. Then the Senate had to approve it, and they did, on April 9, 1867. Then President Andrew Johnson signed it. Then Congress had to actually approve the money to pay for it. It took months of back and forth before Alaska officially became American territory in October. That whole process exists because acquiring land isn't supposed to be a one-man decision. But what Trump's saying sounds nothing like that process. He's talking about making a deal if possible, but taking it anyway if Denmark says no. That's not negotiation. That's basically saying, give it to us, or we'll take it by force. And by the way, this isn't just Democrats freaking out. Republican Senator Rand Paul came out and said publicly, I will do everything in my power to stop any kind of military takeover. Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego introduced a resolution that would require Trump to get congressional approval before doing anything military with Greenland. That should tell you something. When politicians from both parties are raising alarms, it's usually because the issue goes beyond normal political disagreements. Here's the thing that really gets me. Greenland isn't some unclaimed territory. It's part of Denmark. Denmark is one of America's oldest allies. They're a founding member of NATO. They're a democracy just like us. And their government, along with Greenland's own government, has said repeatedly, Greenland is not for sale. Period. So when Trump keeps pushing this idea anyway, and when his White House says military force is on the table, what does that actually mean? It means the president is threatening a military operation against an ally to take their territory. That's not something you can just brush off as tough talk. Trump's justification is that China or Russia will take Greenland if we don't. China actually responded to that. Their foreign ministry said the U.S. shouldn't use other countries as an excuse to pursue its own interests. Even they're calling out how weird this argument is. And think about the logic for a second. Denmark is already in NATO. Greenland already hosts a U.S. military base, Patuxent Space Base. We already have a strategic presence there. The idea that Russia or China could just swoop in and take it doesn't really hold up when you look at the actual situation. What's really happening here is something different. It's about whether the president can bypass constitutional limits, threaten military action against allies, and ignore international law because he thinks something is a good idea. You don't have to agree on Arctic strategy or Greenland's importance to see why that's a problem. The problem is the process, or really, the complete lack of process.